Hello, hello. Welcome to the broadcast. We have some special guests with us here today, and you are joining us for our very second open book series. It's a page from a married couple's perspective, and we are the marriage ministry of Grace Bible Church, and we will be coming back to you live once a month with a couple's perspective, maybe, and we're gonna mix it up. So look out for the next time that we're live. And I know you see this lovely couple over here, LaDarrius and Alice, and I am going to introduce them, and then we are going to get started. And get ready to ask questions, share your comments. So here we go. So we'll start off with Alice. Alice loves all topics about relationships and communication. For the past 6 years, she has taught at Seminole State College as a communications professor and is also a personal public speaking coach. Now, over to LaDarrius. LaDarrius Sanders specializes in family, fitness, and finances. As a professional bodybuilder and personal trainer, he understands and values health. As a CFO and financial consultant, he helps individuals and business position themselves financially to achieve their goals. LaDarrius and Alice are ministers at their local church, premarital counselors, wedding officiants, and marriage coaches. They are committed to helping marriages thrive, and that's why we have them here today. So, welcome, LaDarrius and Alice. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
We are.
And tell us a little bit beyond the introduction. Tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. We are coming up on 10 years of marriage. So we're entering the double digits. In August, we'll celebrate 10 years. And we have how many boys?
Two
boys. One is 4. He'll be 5 next month. And then we have a 1-year-old.
Okay.
Who is active. He's an active one.
Okay.
Yes. To say the least.
Yeah.
That's good. So now I want to welcome you to the Open Book Series, and thank you so much for joining us. And I want to start with some questions. And welcome, viewers. I see we have some viewers. Feel free to put comments in the comments and share your questions or any concerns you have. We just want to welcome you. So my first question to you is, how do you support each other? How do you support each other in work and parenting and giving each other alone time? And I want to ask that question to each of you. So let's start with LaDarrius.
All right. So do you want the spiritual answer, or you want the business side? Because there are many ways that we do this.
Welcome Rosanna to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Rosanna.
Give us just a few sides to that question.
Yeah. So we'll dive in.
One of the things that I know we typically do is we're very structured, and we have to be organized because as you mentioned, the things that we do, those are things that we currently actively do on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And it's very important that we understand each other's schedules. So periodically we will sit down and we will go over our calendars on a daily basis. So we'll talk about these things are coming up. This is what's coming, so that we both are well aware who's picking up our oldest son, who's dropping them off.
Yes.
What type of events do you have, the daytime, the nighttime? What type of client appointments that we have? So we literally go through each other's calendar and make sure that we have enough coverage to take care of the kids, make sure they're needed, and also to plan time for each other. We have different hotel stays, different vacations that we want to plot out as well. We make sure that we insert those times and we actually put them on the calendar to make sure that they happen.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because that is really the main thing that helps our relationship function, is the idea that we're communicating. Our schedules can be hectic, even now during the pandemic. At one point it was slow, but it's picking up now. Mm-hmm. So we have to communicate all those things. And even for the alone time, it's the same thing. If we feel ourselves getting overwhelmed, we'll talk about it. Okay. Sometimes I admit mine may be a little more abrupt. Okay, it may be sort of in the moment, and I'm like, babe, I need help. Rather, it's the boys, it's just been a lot. It's like, babe, I need help. I'd like to go out to eat. I'd like to do whatever. And he's really flexible, especially when you feel that urgency in your spouse. Then it's important to make those steps needed so that they can get some relief.
Yeah.
So that was good. Communication, schedules.
We have someone that said, glad to be here. We're glad you're here.
Glad to have you here.
Okay. My next question for you is, what has been a challenge for you during the pandemic, and how have you overcome it? And that's another multi-layered question, so you can
dive in and segment it as needed. That is interesting. What do you think?
I would say church.
Yeah.
Because church is a cornerstone thing that occurs in our life on a weekly basis. It was daily because we would have church
daily
Sunday, Wednesday, and then a couple of activities would occur during the week. So that would be a daily. If it was once, then it'll be weekly.
I know, but daily.
But the idea is that has altered due to the pandemic significantly. We just started to have our services somewhat get back to normalcy a few months back, maybe midsummer. But we've taken our children to our parents' church because it's a lot smaller there. They're able to get that type of one-on-one. Right. So that's changed a lot. So what that means is we have to get up even earlier because we have to wake up early to get them ready for church, get ourselves ready, drive them to another location, and then go back across town. But I would say what it has done, it's allowed Alice and I to spend more time with each other on Sundays. So Sunday is almost kind of like our date day. We get out, we can eat together, no kids, don't have to stress about that. So that's very helpful.
I would also say during the pandemic, family, it's different because we have a lot of friends that we consider family. We have relatives in various locations. For Christmas and Thanksgiving, we weren't able to travel to see them. And, we've been married for 9 years now, so it's become a routine to visit LaDarrius's family in Alabama, and the kids getting to see their cousins and getting to see some of our friends and their children. So not having that, it was hard. I didn't really like that too much.
Yeah, it's really important that we try to be understanding, don't take things personal, because I feel that it's real easy for you to take it personal if you find out a family member has maybe gone different places, but they still say they want to be quarantined if you want to spend time with them. So it's just, I feel that could be a trick of the enemy to try to divide families. So the best thing to do is just kind of pray, leave it up to God, and just kind of push through. But mentally, that has been a challenge.
That has. And I think something that we've even talked about, because we've faced that where some relatives may not want to have that in-person contact, but they make choices to do other things. And our solution is respect their boundaries. And I'm sure we're not the only people who've had to experience that, but simply respecting their boundaries. And something I tell myself is, it's only for a season, Alice. It's only for a season. Right. I do not know how long that season will be, but it's only for a season. So
I've had to tell myself that also, because sometimes it feels overwhelming and you miss a lot of the normalcy, but it's only for a season. God is in control. And I like, Darius, how you said that even though it's a challenge, church, but the positive part of it is that you were able to spend more time together. So, that's really important.
Yeah, a lot of people have horror stories when it comes to the pandemic, and that is unfortunate. But I will be honest, we mentioned those things as challenges, but God has blessed us to be able to take every challenge that's been thrown at us from the pandemic and pivot and make it actually for our good. So even from a business perspective, the way we used to run our businesses, we've been able to pivot, and actually things are even better because we can be more efficient with doing virtual things, whether it be our marital counseling or my personal training or just different things like that has really worked out well for us. So the pandemic has helped us become more efficient.
And if I can insert with that efficiency, we're then able to spend more time together and with the kids. It's definitely, I am grateful to the pandemic for this thing, for the way that it simplified our life. It was sort of like a purifier. In a way, I feel like God was sort of going through and purifying our lives to make it a little more simple so that we could focus on us, so we could focus on our boys, so we can focus on what, as people say, it's so cliche, but what really matters, you know?
That's so true. So true. Let me move to our next question. How has your relationship with Christ made a difference in your marriage?
Huge. I mean, I think I said earlier, cornerstone.
Ah.
Our faith is what brought us together.
Oh.
Our faith is what, before Alice and I even were married, we had a church online, and we called it VBG. It was a virtual Bible group, and that was 10 years ago. So that's before a lot of things were virtual.
Young, mid-20s.
Absolutely.
It wasn't a real, literal church. It was just a Bible study, and we had friends, and we'd post Bible studies online.
We didn't take offering. We didn't do any of that. We didn't claim to be a 501c3 organization. But what we did, we would have Bible studies, and we would post about them on Facebook and have open discussion, and it was actually growing. It had our little logo and everything. Virtual Bible group. VBG.
So cute, VBG. Yep. Yeah, so it was definitely a part of our creation, the creation of our relationship. But I like to say that Christ is our mediator spiritually. Yeah. You know, he goes to God, but he's also the mediator between the two of us. Yeah. So I am grateful for the fact that we both have a relationship with Christ, because he's able to speak to us in a way that helps unify us. We've had issues that we've talked about before, that we've had to discuss, and we take a moment, you know, maybe it's a night, think about it, reflect, you know, so that we're not talking about it in the heat of the moment when emotions are high. And God will speak to us, and then we'll come back, and he helps bring resolution. So I like to consider him as our mediator. He's our personal, not premarital, but our personal marriage counselor. Awesome. I'm grateful.
That's great. We have a comment here. It says Rosanna says, purifying our lives. That's
it's very important to allow the Holy Spirit to lead and guide us into those kingdom responses.
Ooh, that's good, babe. That's good. Oh, that's really
God makes such a difference, and like you said, he's a cornerstone of marriage. And I'm a testimony. My husband and I have been married. We're going on over 40 years.
What?
And it's such a blessing, and Christ has made such a difference. I can't imagine what our marriage would be like if we didn't have Christ.
Right.
Rosanna said, Christ is our mediator. Amen. Amen. So my next question to you are, what are some areas in your marriage that you have had to overcome?
Oh, that's a great one. You want me to start that one off?
Yeah.
Something that I've had to overcome in our marriage, I can reflect on when we were first married, how I was trying to figure out, I guess you could say, my role in decision making and just everything. And so there were times when I wouldn't speak up. You know, LaDarrius would ask my opinion, if he was strong about a certain opinion, and if I didn't quite agree, sometimes I'd take the back seat, you know, which that's fine to do because you both can't be the driver, but I wouldn't speak up. And so over the years, I believe that God has really grown and matured me in a way where he's allowing me to realize it's okay to share your thoughts. It's okay for you guys to have a discussion so that you can reach a happy compromise. And a lot of the times my thoughts, clearly they're needed. Maybe clearly is a little rough, but they're needed. And so it helps promote discussion. So I had to start speaking up. I had to start using my voice, finding my voice. And I think that's huge. I think another part of me speaking up was vulnerability. So not only was I not sharing a lot of my opinions, but that led to me not sharing a lot of my emotions. And that, my friends, is not a good thing. All right. So learning to be vulnerable. And really, it's a process. It's something that even now I have to push myself to do. LaDarrius will ask me, you know, how are you feeling? Or, you know, what do you think about that? And sometimes he has to ask me multiple times because in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm just not going there. when the idea is, in order to build intimacy, we have to go there. We have to go to those hard spots. We have to go to those moments that make us uncomfortable, because he's the individual who I want to know me more than anyone else. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to build that intimacy, which means just familiarity, intense familiarity, if we're going to build that, then I have to share. So those are some things
that's really good. I've had challenges in that area too, so I'm checking with you on that. Okay, what about you, LaDarrius?
Before I get to me, I just want to add to that. Our pastor has given the congregation a revelation that he has on the scripture that talks about a submissive wife. And the way he describes it is not being submissive in the sense of do what the husband says, but submissive in submitting ideas. So being a submissive wife is a wife that actually submit ideas. So I'm constantly trying to pull on her ideas because I value them and I treasure what she has to say, and I understand the wisdom God has put in my wife. And that's the reason why I continue to pull, because that submissiveness, her submitting ideas to me, is what will help me be a good leader for our household.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's realizing how your partnership operates. Mm-hmm. Every marriage is different, but you have to get a feel. How does this partnership best operate?
Right. And I would say prior, when we first became married, I would say leaving and cleaving is very important.
Oh yeah,
and my wife has had a very strong relationship with her parents growing up. Alice actually stayed home. She went to college, but she basically lived with her parents until we were married. After we were married, then she moved in from her parents' house into our home. And there was a period where we had to understand where the boundaries needed to be within our marriage, things that we probably should share, things we shouldn't share. Mm-hmm. So that was something that we've overcome, and we've thrived ever since.
Okay. My husband is watching, and he's an engineer, so he said we've been married 44.5 years.
Engineer,
I love that. He's like, don't miss time.
All right, Sam.
I love that.
Yeah, we have a question from the audience. Rosanna says, LaDarrius and Alice, what are your love languages?
Rosanna, I love this conversation.
Acts of service is my love language. That's probably the lead one. Acts of service.
And acts of service is not my love language. So I have to intentionally help him with things. You know, he'll be cleaning up. I have no desire to clean up in that moment, but me helping him shows him that I love him, which I'm like, because mine is quality time for sure would be my first one. So I guess they sort of blend together a little bit, because if we're doing the dishes and I join in with him, we can sort of make it quality time. For me, quality time is when we're communicating, when you add communication to it and make it intentional. So I will then try to sort of psych myself out by like talking and bringing up conversations so that we can connect a little bit more, so that it's a little bit lighter.
That was a great question. See, everyone doesn't know about the love languages.
The love language.
She knows something. She knows
we have at our Bible study group, we have on Wednesday night, that's been one of our topics. Ooh, and we have the training. So
we've actually undergone training under Gary Chapman.
No, it was Egrix. Yeah, it was the Love and Respect.
I'm sorry, Love and Respect. Forgive me.
Okay. You like Gary Chapman.
Okay. Right. So my next, we our group has really enjoyed it, and we highly recommend if you're watching and you don't know about the love languages, to check out the book.
Sure.
And online, there's also a survey, so you can take the survey, and it's a great thing to discuss with your spouse.
Yes, and he has many surveys. He has one about anger and apologies. Okay. So I would say just go to the 5 Love Language site and just take all the quizzes. You and your significant other. Yeah. They're great.
Great advice. My next question is, and then audience, if you have questions, put them in the comments. And if you're watching, to my replay viewers, you can put questions in and we can get back to you. So don't feel shy because you're watching the replay. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to ask a question. You can put those in the comments and we will get back to you.
Nice.
My next question is in our group, the couples GBCCF group, we do a challenge each month. And this month we've done the 5 needs of a wife and the 5 needs of a husband. And I'll ask you a question about that later. But for February, we're going to be doing the Spice It Up challenge. And so we want to know we want suggestions on how do you keep the spice in your marriage and what suggestions would you have for couples?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll let you go first because my answer might be a little long.
Okay. How to spice it up?
So how do you spice up a marriage, LaDarrius?
How do you spice up a marriage? Alice, I would say surprises.
Okay.
But no, let me back up. Let me not say surprises because we went through surprises in the past. But I would say kind gestures lead up to a good thing. So in other words, instead of just trying to get into a spicy situation, doing small things that lead up to that situation is something that would be more greatly appreciated.
The situation. I like that. So what I like to do, I like to think
she
about.
likes notes too, like leaving like little notes.
I do.
She writes like little notes and little cards and stuff.
Yeah. I like to think about, I feel like I even wrote some notes on that. Okay. So my suggestion would be plan whatever it is you like. And I think sometimes as married individuals, we make it too serious. You know, you think it has to be, I don't even know, but we make it so heavy and so serious. But you plan what you like. If you enjoy food, if you enjoy massages, if you enjoy games, whatever it is that you like, you plan a night surrounded by that, or an evening, an event, whatever, for you and your spouse. And to make it special, you know, to take it to that next level. Because, for instance, if you decide, oh, I want to do a massage night for my significant other, in order to make it special, I like to say to incorporate the 5 senses. Try to have something they can smell. So maybe you're lighting a candle or you have a diffuser. Try to think of something that they can touch. Maybe the sheets are new sheets, or maybe you're wearing something nice. Music, hearing, have some background music. So go through your 5 senses and try to touch on each one of them. What do they see? Did you decorate a little bit? Did you clean the house some? Or at least clean the bedroom? Like, what do they see? And all of those things will help spice up a marriage.
And I would say flirting too.
I love flirting.
I feel that sometimes people feel like, oh, we're not newlyweds, but flirting is always a cool thing. And then attire, what you're wearing around the house.
What are you wearing?
You know.
It's real.
What you wear around the house.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be, if you know that's something that your spouse likes to see you in.
Exactly.
Then sure, wear that. You know.
Go for it.
You can.
No, go ahead.
Nah, I'm gonna stop there.
Okay, flirting I thought was really good. There's a post that I have on the Love Journal, if you're on Instagram or even on the Facebook group, and it says flirt until they smile. And I love that because the idea is sometimes we know what can trigger our spouse in a good way. So just keep doing it until you get that smile.
Yep.
That's the reward. It's like, yep. Got him.
So it can even be a prolonged hug when you welcome them coming into the house, you know, or just. I mean, there are a lot of things, but I guess it's situational from marriage to marriage because someone's love language may be personal touch. Someone may not like being touched too much.
Right.
So it all depends. But that's what we do. That's what for us.
Okay. I like what you said about utilizing the 5 senses. That's really good. We have another comment or question from Carrie. She says, how do you both handle disagreements? Do you take a break for a moment before speaking? Do you talk about it right away? What are your steps for overcoming disagreements? That is an excellent question.
A great question.
That is good.
I would say all of the above. Everything you just listed, it's all situational. It depends on how serious the disagreement is. If it's a heated, a tough one, then maybe we do need to just kind of pause, wait till we're have a clear head, out of the situation and then revisit it, writing stuff down. I mean, there are multiple ways you can overcome. So again, it's going to be predicated upon the actual marriage that you're talking about, because different people handle things differently. One thing I can say about my wife and I, we have never, at 10 years, never called each other out each other's names. We've never raised our voices in our house. We don't throw stuff. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't happen in other marriages. It just doesn't happen in our household, because that's the culture we have set under our roof.
Yeah.
Because we feel that from violent responses, you're not going to resolve anything. A soft tongue turns away wrath. That's the scripture.
Honey.
So at the end of the day, if I can come to you with a soft tongue and we're talking about, and hey, try to be selfless, right? Selflessness. Be selfless and try to understand your spouse's point of view. Even if you don't agree with it, try to understand why they feel the way that they feel.
Yeah.
If you can just see that side of it and they can see the side of it, somewhere through prayer, God will find that compromises in the middle. Right now, we're trying to have an agreement with something right now, dealing with a school for our kid. We're trying to decide which type of Christian school that we want our child to go to.
Yeah.
And we're working it.
We're working through it.
We're working through it.
Kids add a different element.
Yep.
Something that I would even add to that, which I love what he was saying. I'm huge on communication. I teach communication. I've studied communication for a while now, so I'm huge on communication. And if emotions are high, more than likely emotions are going to lead that conversation. So even if it's not high for both of us, let's say I'm intensely passionate about it and he is not, we should still try to calm down and wait and talk about it later when both of us are on level playing fields. That just helps. And then, as he was saying, understanding the other person, throw in a few phrases like, I understand how you feel. Thank you for sharing that with me. Throw in phrases like that. Sometimes we think, oh, I don't really talk like that. However you speak, soften the tone so that they know that you're listening to them. Because often our arguments start because I don't feel like you're listening to me. I don't feel like you're paying attention to me. I feel like you think that I'm coming at you in a negative way. And those misunderstandings can turn a decent conversation into a crazy conversation. So make sure that emotions are calm. And if you need to, I like to write down my thoughts, because I'm also a huge advocate of getting to the root of the problem. If we all of a sudden get really passionate about what school out of 3 great schools to send our child to, maybe there is something deeper. Maybe I feel as though he's not listening to me, or maybe I feel as though my opinion doesn't matter. Like, try to get to the root of that issue and attack the root, not the superficial stuff. So sometimes we have to think in order to get to what's really the problem.
That's good.
I like that, attacking the root, and also bringing the word in. A soft answer turns away wrath, and remembering that when you get into that situation. And Rosanna says selflessness.
Woo, girl, yes. And yes, again.
That's a big one.
That's a huge...
As since you mentioned school and trying to decide about the school, the question, one of the questions is, how do you as parents make sure that your children grow up in a Christian environment?
Oh, that's nice.
I would say practice what you preach.
Yeah,
practice what you preach. It's one thing to tell your child what they should do.
Yeah.
But you have different behaviors in your household. Well, the way we present ourselves off to the public on social media and church is the exact same way we operate in the house.
Yeah.
If you have a double life, a double standard where you're like this in one location, and then you're at home and it's do as I say, not as I do, I think that's where you're going to have conflict, and that could create a double-minded child. So it's very important it's true. So it's very important that you practice what you preach and lead by example is the best thing, because they're more likely going to pick up what you do than what you say.
I agree with that. Because what was I thinking? Basically, I think we should live a life. Sorry, we hear our kids downstairs. And I'm like, what's happening? All right. I think that we should live a life that they can imitate. Okay, so I shouldn't say, I shouldn't react in a way that I wouldn't want them to imitate. And I feel that will sort of help with the environment. And really, they're like accountability, when you think about it. They hold us accountable to the things that we say, to the things that we claim we believe, because they're watching. Yeah. And so their accountability, and I do feel that a lot of adults don't like accountability. So if you find yourself in that situation, I'd suggest that you sort of dig a little deeper and think, why? Why do I not like accountability? Usually we don't like it because it's shining a light on something that's going wrong, or some type of cognitive dissonance, which means the way I'm thinking is not aligning with the way I'm behaving. So, yeah.
And children will reveal things, and they can be like a mirror and like, ooh,
Yes.
So,
yes.
I want to take a moment to say, don't forget to subscribe, to share, and to comment. Okay. Now, as marriage counselors and marriage officiants, I have down some frequently asked questions that you get asked, and so I'd like to discuss those. How do you resolve? We've kind of talked about it a little bit already in Carrie's questions, but how do you get this question a lot? How do you resolve conflict? And is there something you'd like to add to that?
We have a little diagram that we like to use in our marriage counseling sessions, in our premarital counseling sessions, and it's a baseball field, and it has bases. And basically, we like to say that it should be a conversation. Okay, you should have the conversation. You bring up one topic at a time. Okay, what you don't want to do is have a whole lot of issues mixing in. Let's deal with one topic at a time. What is my problem with this topic? What is your problem with this topic? How can we resolve it? Then I will submit a solution. If you don't like the solution, you can revamp it, submit it back to me. And when I say submit, this is in conversation. And go back and forth until you reach a happy medium. But like we said before, you don't want to do this when you're in a weird situation. If your emotions are high, if your emotions are crazy, then let's not do it now. Wait until you've eaten a nice chill night, you're hanging out, then let's talk about it. Sure, the conversation might get a little intense depending on what the topic is and how sensitive it is, but sort of submitting ideas and going back and forth until you reach that happy medium.
Avoid trigger words.
Ooh, yes.
The things that'll set your spouse off.
Yeah.
So definitely
don't do it.
From those.
Don't do it.
Definitely stay away from things like "you always."
Those phrases are
anything
bad.
That could be accusations that could possibly not be true. You're definitely going to do that. Never use the D word, ever.
Divorce is the D word.
Ever use that word?
Don't threaten people.
Yep.
That's all. Don't threaten people.
Be mature. Don't do tit for tat. Hey, well, since you're going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like that's not an adult. That's not adulting. That's very childish.
Hashtag adulting.
If you can't pray together before you have the discussion, that means you're not level-headed enough where you can have a quality conversation.
Don't have the discussion.
Some people are like, I don't want to pray. I want to hold your hand right now. I'm mad.
If you can't
touch and hold hands, you're not ready to have the conversation.
And
that's good. That's good.
in itself is great, you guys. I have learned through my studies that literally physical touch can diffuse a situation. And often we don't want it. Think about it, especially ladies.
Yeah, when you're mad.
Don't touch me. No, don't give me a hug. Don't kiss me. But receive it. If you receive it, you will melt. And not saying that melting is not melting in a way as in your mind will change from whatever your position is, but melting in a way as in your emotions will calm down. And you'll come back to a point where you realize, I love this person. This person loves me. So they're no longer the enemy. I have another post that I'm going to make where it simply says, communicate as allies, not as enemies. And I think that was I'm reading a book, Mr. Henry, Gay Henry, The Big Leap. And he talks about communicating as allies. And that's what we should do. We should add love to our words So if you're in a place where you can't do that, then you don't need to have that conversation right then.
Scientifically, your body releases chemical hormones.
Yes.
When you have that close contact.
Physical touch.
And that doesn't mean that you take advantage of your spouse and just say, oh, if I give them a little physical action, that's manipulation.
Yeah,
so don't do
that's
that.
manipulation.
We're just saying that it enhances your situation when you're closer to
when you're in a healthy relationship.
And I would definitely just add this part because it may help someone. If it's just to the point where you just don't seem you can ever get to normalcy, like we've been trying for a week now and we still can't have this conversation, that's when you need a mediator. You need a third person. Find a pastor or someone or a marital counselor that is not biased to either sides, preferably someone that loves both of you, and have them be a mediator to help you make it through that resolution.
Sure. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And I think hopefully society is growing to the place where we value mental health and we value getting that assistance. Mm-hmm. I heard someone do an analogy of like the doctor. You know, we go to the dentist every 6 months, or at least you're supposed to go to the dentist like at least every 6 months for a checkup. And you do that even when there's nothing wrong with your teeth. You do it for maintenance. Right. And so I heard someone say, why don't we take care of our mental health and our relationships that way, where we do it for maintenance and not when we're in a serious, oh my God, I have a root canal. Something's real. Oh my God, I can't talk. Now I need to go see the doctor. No, for marriage, don't wait until it's dire to all of a sudden seek help. But let's maintain. Let's do periodic checkups. Even if it's not, oh gosh, I love talking relationships, you guys. So sorry if I'm babbling a little bit. But even if it's not a counselor, you and your spouse during good times do periodic checkups. LaDarrius and I will do that. So how are you? Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything that maybe I could do better? We're scared to ask those questions sometimes because we don't want the answers and we don't want the feedback. Right. But in the marriage, we're here for the long haul. This is till death do us part. So guess what? To death. Okay? So guess what? I want to live a happy life. And in order to do that, we need to communicate. We need to talk about it. Do little checkups.
Okay. Well, we have questions and comments coming in. So this one came in. It says, do you guys have different parenting styles? As sometimes parenting styles differ based on how a person was raised, including other factors. And most time that creates conflicts in marriage and relationships. So take it away.
Smiles? Do you see these smiles? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I would definitely say we have different parenting styles. And when it comes to communication, you can have different points of views. You can have differences. And it don't always have to be an argument or a fight.
Right.
So this morning we had a difference in a situation. Our son was sucking his thumb, and I was like, "This is what the consequence needs to be, babe. What do you think about it?" She was just like, "Nah, I don't like that." And so, at the end of the day, the way I was brought up and the way she was brought up are polar opposites. Completely different opposites.
Yeah, completely.
And so we had to come to an agreement on what we needed to do. So again, that word selflessness comes in. I had to be willing to say, you know what? Let's try it your way. Let's just see. I don't agree with it.
It was a great
I don't agree with it, but let's see what happens.
You didn't agree? I thought you still agreed.
No.
You still don't agree?
Still don't agree, but I'm willing to try it. Because at the end of the day, something so small and so petty, like a parenting decision, is not worth your marriage. It's not worth getting into a huge argument or a fight over when it's something that's small.
If it's small.
If your style is different than your spouse, be the bigger person. Let them try their style for a small period of time. And if you see traction, you see improvement, you see things trending in the right way, then maybe that was the better decision. But if things aren't changing, things aren't trending, are they trending in the wrong way, then maybe you guys say, okay, now let's try my method and then see where it goes from there.
And if it's something larger, because I mean, a child sucking their thumb is very light, okay, compared to other things that could happen. If it's something larger, once again, think about the things that we talked about with conflict resolution. Calm down, because we're all passionate about our children. So that in itself is going to be very intense. And not only are we passionate about our children, we don't want our spouse to perceive us as a bad parent. And often when they shoot down our ideas, we take it personal. It's no longer really about the kid, but it's about, oh, so you don't think I know how to parent. You think I'm trying to do something wrong to our child. It starts to get really nasty. Mm-hmm. So if by chance it's a bigger ordeal, use the conflict resolutions and don't necessarily implement something if both of you are not in agreement. Okay, because that then can lead to, well, I told you if it goes south, you should have never, and oh God, we don't want that. So pray about it and ask God to mediate that situation. Ask some of your friends that you admire who have good children or who have a healthy marriage. Ask them if your spouse is in agreement, seek some counsel. So do conflict resolution.
And let's just say if you have a situation where one of the parents wants the children bedtime to be this time, the other parent wants it to be at another time, write out on a piece of paper the pros and cons of both sides. Who has the most pros? Who has the most cons?
Keep it simple.
And that's simple as that. And it's always a good idea to err on the side of caution. Which parenting decision could cause the more harm for the child when they're older, right? Sometimes we're like, just let them live a little bit. Well, I mean, let's just err on the side of caution. Let's just see what happens, right? If your method is so free-spirited that it could potentially cause some harm, then maybe go with the one that's a little bit more conservative. They're children. They have their whole life ahead of them to do what they want to do. They don't have to do what they want to do at age 5 or 3 or 2.
Right. Great parenting advice. And we have another question. How do you handle it when your kid attempts to play one parent over the other? Like, mommy said I could.
We did this before we even had kids. We made a pact. We said, you know what? It's us against them. So typically when my son asks anything from me, I said, well, what did your mom say? Same thing. What did daddy say? So we don't even have issues with that playing the parent thing. Nope.
And with the playing of the parent, depending on what age they are, explain to them that's not right. Do not do that. And like he said, the idea that it is parents, it is us. We are a team. Of course, the family unit is also a team, but we are a team and we are helping and cultivating the children. So not allowing them to involve themselves to the point where it causes conflict between us. So if he does come to me and he's like, well, daddy said that I could do such and such, which we probably have had moments like that before, then, I pause and I'll say, well, let me talk to your daddy. Right. I'll talk to dad and we'll come back and we'll see. And just leave it right there, and then that teaches the kid patience because maybe daddy's working. So maybe I can't talk to him right now. Right. Maybe we've got to do it later. Maybe you get it tomorrow. I don't know. So, these kids.
And we're blessed to have good boys. The fact that if one of us tell our children no to something, that's pretty much it.
Our oldest is very light.
He's going to abide by it. And I believe that Noah's going to be the same way.
Yes, Noah will be the same way.
Ruth says this is awesome stuff. And Sam says, that's good, touching as a diffuser.
Yeah, I love that too.
And we have Carol watching. Thank you, Carol, for watching.
Yeah, thanks, Carol.
Keep those questions coming. We have a little bit more time. Another question, and you kind of touched on it already, about managing the schedules. But maybe let me move on to the next question, and then we can go back to that one. How do you handle your finances? How do you handle your finances?
Whoever is the strongest should handle it. I would say that I can save money, sure, but when it comes to details and to get us where we want to be in our future, I have married a financial guru. So take it away.
Well, first of all, I thank God that my wife is willing to allow me to lead in such a capacity, because it's very important that whatever your spouse is best at, allow them to excel in that area. And you have to let your pride go and say, well, I'm probably not the best person for this. Then there you go. It doesn't mean that you keep them blindsided. They don't know what's going on. You should still keep them aware, even if you're leading in it, You don't say, well, since I'm doing this, don't worry about it. You still want to educate, you still want to bring them along. I'm the CFO of 2 different companies and I do financial consulting on the side. So
right.
That's my lane. Like, that's what I do for a living. So it just makes sense for me to lead in that capacity.
And I love that because through studies, they even share that you should learn your strengths and your weaknesses. We all have different personalities. We all have different talents. And there's nothing wrong with that. Allow your spouse to lead in the area that they're comfortable in the area that they enjoy. Allow that and watch your marriage thrive. Boom.
Boom. I like that. Ruth says, do your kids treat one parent than the other?
Probably do.
Now, how do you make sure that the child sees your ideal the same without changing your parenting style? And she says, for example, my 3-year-old has me repeating stuff while all my husband has to do is give him a look. That's
I know.
We know what you're talking about, Ruth.
I know. Why is it harder sometimes for the mommies? Oh, so we can empathize.
It's the bass in the voice.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You can empathize.
That's true. That's true. Because when I was raising my boys, we do the same thing. I have to say things over and over, and he come home and he just give them a look or just say a word, and they listen.
I tell her I think she's too soft. I feel that I'm more direct.
Yes.
I'm more direct when it comes to direction. I'm more direct when it comes to discipline. And I think because of my directness with them, I think that's probably why I have that portion of respect. Alice is so loving, caring, and nurturing. They feel, oh, mommy. So I think that you do.
Come on.
You do. I'm not saying not saying you don't, but I think that level of respect that they have when it comes to just a look is because they understand there's going to be no fuzzy lovey-dovey stuff coming over here.
And
before you comment, I think that's the beauty of the marriage with a husband and a wife raising the child. It balances out, because there are times when the dad might be really firm, but the child needs something a little bit softer, and then vice versa.
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of having it the way that God wants it to be.
Yes.
A man and a husband and a wife raising a child. But go ahead.
And I think something that helps, because the boys definitely, I definitely have to repeat myself sometimes with them. But LaDarrius also helps implement the respect. And I'm also working on that. Okay, so let me do one thing at a time. So LaDarrius will reinforce, listen to your mom. Didn't your mom ask you to do that? Why are you coming to me? Mom already answered that. He will reinforce it so that the boys are like, okay, I get it. I need to listen to mom too, which is helpful. And then also recently, I purchased a parenting course. I purchased I believe it's Lisa Bevere. She raised 4 men now. And then she partnered with a pastor named Havila who has like 4 little boys. And they just talk about all the things they've experienced, because raising boys for me is new. And maybe you don't have all boys, maybe you've got girls and boys, whatever the case is, parenting for a parent is new, because a lot of us, regardless, it's new. You've never raised this child before at this age before. It's all new, and we're learning. So if you can glean and get help from those who you think have done it successfully, I encourage that. Because now for my 4-year-old, I have something that I implement with him, which is helping him respond quicker and better with me. And that is do it right away, all the way, in a happy way. And I got that from the coaching parenting session that I purchased. They were like, they tell their child, do it right away, all the way, in a happy way. And I'll repeat that to him when he's not cleaning up. When I ask him, Darius, what are you supposed to do? And he'll say, right away, all the way, happy way. Sure. Yes. Go do it now, please. So try to glean information.
Ruth kind of asking piggybacking on that, she's saying, is she too soft, or is the difference create a balance? Isn't the balance necessity?
I think it depends, Ruth, because sometimes I am too soft. So the answer is yes.
And sometimes I'm too hard.
I am too soft.
Yeah,
sometimes he is too hard. So once again, we're just hoping, and I don't want us to get caught up on who, you know, is doing this, who's too hard, who's too soft. Yeah. That's not the focus. Yeah, the focus is simply that Christ will give you the grace.
Yes.
Okay? We do our best. Mm-hmm. We do what we know to do. We do the next right thing. And Christ will come in and he will partner with us and he will do the rest. And that's what we have to trust, because our children are our hearts. It is passion. It is love to the next level. And so we can't try to control it all. We have to leave a lot of that to God. So just believing that he will step in and make up the difference.
And I would say every child and every family has a different personality.
Yeah.
So you really want to rely on the Holy Spirit to guide you on how to raise your kids, how to respond. The courses are great, books are great, but at the end of the day, you use that as ammunition,
with the Holy
but
Spirit,
you allow God to guide you and when to execute those things that you learn. Because maybe there's something that you picked up in a book you should do, but maybe not right now. Maybe do it tomorrow. I mean, so the Holy Spirit really leads. There have been things that I've said or done, and I just felt kind of convicted. I didn't do nothing bad. I'm definitely not an abusive father, but maybe the Spirit's like, hey, just hug your kid and just say you love him. And I just hug my son out the blue and say, I love you, son. He said, I love you too, Dad. Sometimes I'm just working and typing, and he'll just look up, he'll just say, Dad, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too. So it's like you just never know. You just never know. But I know if I'm just hard all the time, and I'm never showing that affection, he could grow up with daddy issues. And he could be a completely different, it could really affect him as an adult. My daddy never loved me, and now he feel he has to be whatever.
Discernment.
Yep.
Let me pop up some of the comments. It says, Carrie says, I agree with getting training and help for how to parent. No one teaches us the fundamentals of parenting, and it's one of the most important things we do in our lives.
Let's go, Carrie. That's right. She's on it. Carrie, you got it.
And I have a serious question that someone's asked. It says, have you discussed who would be the guardian of your child if you passed away? That's a really good question.
Let's dive into that.
We just finished our estate planning. We have a financial advisory firm that does wills, trusts, and estate planning. So we had to decide who that was, and what we did, we thought of, how responsible was this particular person?
Yeah.
Proximity. Maybe this person is responsible, but if you have someone that's in California, you really want your kids to be uprooted and taken across the country. Yeah. So we had to think about all those different things. Who will love the kid, who the kids will respond to, could they financially make the wise decisions? Those are the things we had to decide. And prayer.
And it's touchy. I know a lot of parents are like, we're not dying. We don't want to think about that.
But you might.
We don't want to die right now either, but the idea is just having things in order.
Yep.
Having things in order.
Life
so maybe
insurance.
Looking into life insurance, looking into trust and estate planning, things of the sort. Look into that so that if something did happen, it's not chaos on top of sadness. Does that make sense? If something did happen, we want at least the transition to be light and easy, and for our kids to still feel as though they have that love. And this person is not a new face. We're not like, oh, what about Barbara out in New Jersey who's never met the kids? Mm-hmm. No, it's someone that they know already, that they're familiar with, that we like their parenting style already. And we're like, if something were to happen, we trust you.
And we can always amend it while we're alive. We could change the name,
you can change it. So if they do something crazy and we're like, nope, X them out, pick someone else.
If you can coach on that, let me know.
We can because it's real.
It is. And this user says that she's raising two toddler boys, and it's a journey.
It is.
And Carrie says, She's resting on God's grace. Without it, she wouldn't survive. She has 3 kids under 6 years old.
Wow.
It's tough, but God's grace is tough.
God's grace is tougher. And that's amazing. That's right. We all need to remember that. Whatever it is, God is better and he's best.
And then Sam says, with God and doing it right, LaDarrius, those boys will still hug your neck and tell you they love you when they're in their 40s. And we're
Hey, Sam, I received that, brother. I received it.
And me
Amen.
too, Sam. You'll hug me too. And give me my kisses.
And yeah, it'll be a blessing.
Yes. Oh,
I think we've done a lot, and we've gotten some really good feedback and advice about keeping Christ foremost, allowing the Holy Spirit to intercede and to help us when we need to make decisions, and so many things that we've discussed. And I wanted to just say thank you. I want to get in some commercials, I would say.
Okay.
Sort of little commercials.
Yeah, go
Help
for it.
us spread the word to other couples about our Facebook group, Couples GBCCF, where we are trying to share marriage encouragement, areas where you can voice issues that you're having, where you could give us prayer requests and all of that. So I wanted to let you know that. And our church is Grace Bible Church, and the website is gbccf.org for Grace Bible Church. And if you need prayer, there's a number for you to call, the church number 407-578-2085, and you can. I'll put that in the comments later. If you click on that link, or Rosanna, can you put that in the comments? You can click on that link, and someone will be in touch to pray with you. You can put your prayer request in, or if you want to speak to someone directly, there'll be someone there to do that. And if LaDarrius and Alice, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
You want to go first? So I would say you can join. I also have a group on Facebook called The Love Journal. Feel free to join the group on Facebook and also on Instagram. It's called The Official Love Journal. On my social media platform, I simply promote marriage. I have affirmations, conversation starters, meditations, things for you to think about and ponder, and various challenges, all a creative way to help you and your spouse stay connected. So feel free to join in on all the fun. Feel free to do that. And if you need premarital counseling or marriage coaching, we know that your church offers it also, but if you'd like, feel free to contact me at theofficiallovejournal@gmail.com. And LaDarrius and I are available for the premarital counseling or the marriage coaching if you just need someone to talk through some things with. We're here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
For myself, again, I own a personal training business as well as a financial coach. So I actually put my phone numbers there. The best thing to do is to just text me. And if you text me, I can provide you with all my social media platforms. I've been actually fasting from social media
been doing good too.
Since November, and it's been a blessing to me. I know that's bad for business marketing, but God has still been providing. Like, God have not missed. If anything, I'm probably busier. So at the end of the day, God has given that grace. But definitely, just send me a text message to that number if you're interested in fitness, the 407 number, and the 334 number if you're interested in any type of financial coaching, whether you need help with your credit, improving your credit, building budgets, starting your business, learning how to prepare things for taxes, how to invest. I mean, you name it. All things money, that's me. And of course, all things fitness, that's me as well. Pro bodybuilder. I have personal training that I do during the week. We also have boot camps every single Saturday, 8 in the morning, from 8 to 9 on Saturday. We do it early at 8 so that you can have the rest of your Saturday to be with your family,
and a virtual
your
boot
kids.
camp.
Yeah, we also do it online.
Virtual.
So if you don't want to come face to face, we definitely can do online boot camps. So just text me that number, and I can give you the link tonight, and then we can get you started in the morning.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time. Let me go back to the comments, see if we have any more comments. It looks like we do.
We're having a great time. This is fun. Yes.
Oh, I forgot to put this up. Sam said, of course, Alice. And Ruth says, we just had a newborn baby. Our toddler, 3 years old, is taking it emotionally hard. He's asking for hugs every 5 minutes and asking, are we still friends? Any advice about helping him adjust?
Sure.
So we deal with something similar to that. Anytime when I come home, my 1-year-old runs, trying to give me a hug. And all of a sudden, the almost 5-year-old decides he wants to run after him and have the exact same treatment. So I still hug them both. But sometimes I'll stop and I'll hold the 5-year-old for going on 5-year-old. And I'll let him know, listen, just because your brother wants to hug me doesn't mean you have to hug me just because he doesn't. I love you both. I love you both the same, but things are different. You're gonna do. I'm gonna spend some personal time with you that he won't be a part of, and I'm gonna spend some personal time with him that you're not gonna be a part of. So I would say the expectation would be not for the youngest one to understand, but just make sure that the oldest one understands the dynamic that, hey, we love you both. There are going to be times where things are going to be different. And then I'll remind them, hey, remember that time when you and I went upstairs and ate popcorn together and watched the car? Yeah, I remember that. Was Noah a part of that? No. Right. So the same way how we spent quality time together, I'm going to spend some time with Noah. And we don't really have any of that overly emotional disappointment that I've witnessed.
That's good. And for a 3-year-old, they're a little bit younger, so they may not totally comprehend all of that. But as they get older, it's good to have those conversations. But I would simply say what people told us was include them, which you've probably heard that. As you're changing the diaper, ask the 3-year-old, hey, can you go get a diaper for me? Yep. Can you go get this? Oh, yay. Like, we were around that 3 when we had a newborn. So, including him, I would sing songs to the baby, but I would teach the 3-year-old the song too. So both of us are singing the song. Just include, be very intentional to have them help. Get the diaper. Can you help me do this? Do you think baby's hungry? Oh my goodness. Can you, just keep them incorporated. Let's sing that song. And I think that helps. All of a sudden, they become a little more attached to the baby also.
We had our 3-year-old holding the bottle to feed the baby.
Yeah.
So like little stuff like that, almost treated as if though it's your baby as well.
Yeah.
Of course, they were in a safe place, seated on the couch. She wasn't just holding it, but literally it was laying across his lap, feeding the bottle, and I got videos of that. That was pretty cool. I forgot we used to do that, but yeah.
That's precious.
Thank you. And as a reminder, we for our couples group, we meet on Wednesdays at 6:30. We meet virtually, and you're welcome. And the replay viewers and the viewers that are there that are with us today, you're welcome to join us. And we are having it's not called Valentine's, but we're having a Rosanna, help me with the name. We're having an event for Valentine's Day on the 12th. And it's virtual. We're going to have games. We're going to have prizes. We have gifts and everything. So don't forget to sign up, and I'll put that in the comments.
And it's on the 12th, you said?
I believe it's the 12th.
I think that's wise, not to do it on the actual day in case there are things planned.
Right.
Smart. Yeah, that's good.
Right.
Good.
Spice it up challenge.
She does all our planning, so
spice it up.
Okay. Then someone said definitely for someone one time with older one, it's very hard with a newborn, especially since the newborn is dependent on you. I have a 4 and a 2-year-old starting to withdraw, so we've included him, and he's got more close top his.
Yes.
He got more close to his baby, so that's good.
Good point.
And Carrie says, "I love your guys' information. I just followed your Instagram.
Yay.
And some love."
I appreciate that, Carrie. Thank you. Thank you.
And she says, "Inspiring couple, keep up the great work. You're both encouraging those around us." And Ruth,
God bless.
oh, it's our Stand for Love event. It's an evening with your soulmate.
Ooh,
So we'll put that in the comments also. It's gonna be a fun night.
that sounds good.
And we had Facebook user says, "Thank you. I hope to visit back soon." So
Aw.
Awesome.
so thank you so much. We went over a little bit, but it's been great. And I just want to again thank you, LaDarrius and Alice. And maybe we'll have to have you come back again.
Yeah.
soon.
This was fun.
We would love
love
to.
this.
Yeah, we would love to.
Love to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much. You have a blessed day, and everyone out there, do take time to be a blessing to someone else. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.